Hi guys, good morning. I thought I would do a quick update here. It was about 3:30, I guess, when they started banging this morning. So once again, it continues because they don't care. They know the police aren't going to do anything. They're here. They call the police repeatedly. They make up lies. The police come. They tell you something about the Tenants Association, and then they leave. We know this is a police matter. It was a police matter when I called them pleading for help that my husband was going to put me on the street. I called 911. Oh, don't worry, we'll be there. Well, they were there with pepper spray, handcuffs, and slamming me down on the floor and making up a bunch of stuff about me before they arrested me, which all has been lies. I was 50 years old, Jill. Jill is my cousin's daughter, so she can work as a communications director over there at Bethlehem. And there's no problem, but I can't. My career's over for the last decade. So this is what they do to you. And then the police will show up grinning and laughing, and they think it's funny because this has gone on repeatedly. Because I was sexually assaulted by a police officer right before my divorce started. So I would be in shock and trauma and not be able to effectively defend myself, which is exactly what happened. And Mr. Spencer continues. He is now the police chief. So, of course, he has all this power. He gets all these people. I have his lawyer friends coming up to me and telling me they're his friends. The whole community is lined up to do his dirty work. Certainly here in Albany with these people, certainly in Schenectady, there's been ongoing problems because my family's pretty prominent, even though they've done nothing for me. Teachers, no less, up there in my leach field behind my lake house, causing trouble all these years, and certainly places that I've worked at repeatedly. And so on and so forth. I started making a little bit of a timeline when this started. And most women like myself do have a history. Megan Kelly is online spewing about, well, at least you're not 5 or 10. Well, I was. My mother's first boyfriend was inappropriate. I had neighbors, the Megnas. He's another deputy police chief now. And you can see a pattern. His family picked me up for a pool party, was abusive. It was to cover up their own inappropriate. They thought it was funny that my mother's boyfriend had issues. He was this disabled vet. They thought that was funny. I've talked about bath time, and I won't go into any more inappropriateness, but suffice to say, there's enough of it. And then at 10, it was my cousin and her brother, and so on and so forth. I did talk about that. When I was a teenager, it was baby trapping because they didn't want me to go to college. They destroyed my graduation party. Mr. Spencer rounds up these corrections officer, because his father's a corrections officer over at the jail, to make up lies about pedophiles that were connected to this and threatening gun violence at the jail. It's a small rural jail, and this is what you have to deal with, locked up for nonsense, because they thought that was funny once they have me in jail, throw me on the street, steal my stuff, lose my job, take my dog, take my brand new car. So this is the kind of police response. So they get it wrong with domestic violence, and they continue to get it wrong. They get it wrong with sexual harassment. I've worked in Albany for years. I'm very disappointed to see what's going on in Albany with housing. So certainly when you survive a domestic violence situation, you overcome these things as a child. You're repeatedly put in the same position. We know that most prostitutes are trafficked as children, so it's very easy to get someone in this vulnerable situation, certainly with housing here, and then continue to get these people repeatedly to harass you. My ex-boyfriend was a cop. When I was here in Albany, when I moved up to Albany, right away my roommates were involved with the police. So he's involved, calling up, making threats. So this has been and continues to be a police matter, even though they'll joke and laugh and talk to you about the Tenants Association and talking to the landlord and working things out. This is forced prostitution or trafficking. And I have various incidences that went on when this started, because the whole point is to force you into prostitution, put you in a vulnerable situation, and they all continue here. And certainly, if I was in law enforcement, I would be very interested in a weapon, in a device that you don't have to be in the same room, you don't have to have a gun, and you keep someone confined, because I've been confined here for 7 months pretty much. I go out to get groceries because I'm so sick, because whatever this device is, it burns and it overheats you at night to wake you up. It's very, very, very uncomfortable, besides the noise harassment and besides the ongoing no heat, or sporadic heat, I should say, no hot water. bug infestations was the recent one, and so on and so forth. I've made videos, so if you want to check those out. And the reason I make these videos is because children are still being abused. Certainly up on my lake house with my neighbor, their grandfather, Jimmy, that they all loved, getting drunk with my ex-husband and his involvement. I've talked about him. And then his friends on the other side, that Dougie that works for cops. Okay. And his family was pretty abusive, all sitting around watching these two little boys be abused. And I won't get too far into that, just to say that, there's other children as this continues that are being abused, certainly the way I was, and the police continue to think it's funny. And these people continue to think they get away with it. So you go from place to place. It's the same pattern. You're crazy. You're making it up. They'll continue to do this nonsense with, whether it's with the heat, whether it's noise harassment, whether it's waking you up at 3, 4 in the morning so you can't go to sleep, which was the pattern of my ex-husband. He woke me up, all the time with this fake snoring. It turns out it was an audio file. The tenant upstairs pretended he worked for the FBI, and so on and so forth. So this is what's going on. And obviously, like domestic violence, they're not interested in these traffickers around here. But I will continue to speak out because in other areas we are making progress. And it's too bad officers like Spencer and Megna, this is the incompetence that we get from Amsterdam, because this should have been handled a long time ago. Be safe, guys.